A MAGA troll tried to mock democracy and got wrecked. It happened in Denver. A sunny afternoon, a peaceful No Kings rally. Citizens gathered to celebrate equality, democracy, and the rejection of authoritarianism. But then, out of nowhere, came one of Trump's lost soldiers. A swaggering, sneering embodiment of MAGA arrogance. He thought he'd come make a scene. He thought he'd be the tough guy. He thought he'd own the libs. Big mistake, because karma was waiting, and this time, karma had backup. You see, what happened in Denver isn't just a funny viral moment. It's a snapshot, a perfect, painful reflection of everything broken inside the MAGA movement. A man so filled with rage, so poisoned by Trump's hate, that he believed he could walk into a peaceful protest and spread his venom without consequence. But when the crowd stood their ground, when truth, decency, and solidarity pushed back, he learned a lesson that MAGA never seems to understand. Actions have consequences. He strutted in yelling, "God bless Trump," over and over, as if those 3 words could grant him immunity from common sense. But what he didn't expect was the crowd's unity, the calm, disciplined energy of people who refuse to be bullied by ignorance. This wasn't just a rally, it was a statement. No kings, no dictators, no wannabe authoritarians wrapped in red hats pretending to be patriots. And as the footage rolled, it was almost poetic. The moment when he realized he wasn't in control. That his little tantrum wasn't intimidation, it was humiliation. He stumbled. He shouted. He demanded his glasses back like a schoolyard bully who just got caught picking on the wrong kid. But make no mistake, this wasn't about one man. This was about a movement. About what happens when millions are fed the same poison, day after day, speech after speech, lie after lie. Trump and his enablers, in Congress, in right wing. Media, on the Supreme Court, have created a culture that tells white men like this that they can do whatever they want, that they're victims if they can't, that their anger is holy, their cruelty justified. They've turned resentment into religion. They've weaponized insecurity into identity. And what do they have to show for it? Misery, violence, isolation. These MAGA men don't show up to heal. They show up to hurt. They don't celebrate freedom. They fear it. Because freedom means change. Freedom means empathy. Freedom means that the world no longer revolves around their privilege, and that terrifies them. Trump sold them a lie, that if they scream louder, hate harder, and punch down faster, they can stop the world from moving forward. But here's the truth. History doesn't stop for bigots. Contrast that chaos with the opening moments of the No Kings rally, the soft power of peace. Indigenous voices rising in song, music that carries centuries of resilience, culture, and truth. You can hear it, the beauty, the pride, the connection. A sound that invites reflection, not division. A sound that says, we belong to something greater than fear. Now imagine being so hardened by hate that you can't even feel that. Imagine being so empty inside that harmony feels like a threat. That's MAGA in a nutshell, a cult allergic to joy, and that's why this one small confrontation in Denver matters. Because it shows us, in real time, the clash between 2 Americas, one built on fear and control, the other on love and community. The Trump voter who tried to disrupt that moment didn't just fail, he exposed himself. He revealed what happens when ignorance meets accountability. When propaganda meets reality. When cruelty meets conscience. And the irony? Even as the crowd tried to protect him, to keep him from getting hurt, he still played the victim. Still shouted for justice, for his glasses. Glasses he lost in a scuffle he started. The metaphor writes itself. MAGA breaks something, then demands it back. They burn democracy, then cry about law and order. They storm the Capitol, then call themselves political prisoners. Every single time, chaos followed by crocodile tears. But that's the thing about karma. It doesn't always come with lightning bolts. Sometimes it comes in the form of a peaceful crowd that simply refuses to be afraid. Sometimes it comes as laughter, as people calmly telling you, you just got fafoed. Sometimes karma doesn't have to strike. It just shows up and watches as hate self-destructs, because hate always does. That's what Trump and his followers never understand. They think cruelty is strength. They think compassion is weakness. But strength isn't how loud you can shout, "God bless Trump." Strength is how firmly you can stand for what's right, even when the mob comes for you. And let's talk about that phrase, "God bless Trump." It's not just delusional. It's dangerous. It turns a corrupt, twice-impeached convicted con man into a messiah figure, a man who bragged about assaulting women, mocked the disabled, and tried to overturn an election. God bless Trump? No. God help the people who still believe in him. Because they've traded morality for a slogan, democracy for a cult. The No Kings movement is about rejecting that, rejecting the idea that power should belong to one man, one race, one ideology. It's about the radical idea, the American idea, that we are all equal under the law. That no one, not even a former president, is above accountability. That's what terrifies Trump's followers the most. Equality feels like oppression when you're used to privilege. So yes, this was one small, ridiculous moment, a MAGA troll getting put in his place. But it's also a warning, because there are millions like him, still angry, still lost, still convinced that Trump's hate will somehow make them whole again. But it won't. It never has. The only thing it creates is division, and the only thing it destroys is themselves. So when we laugh at that footage, and let's be honest, it is satisfying, we also need to remember the bigger picture, that the fight for democracy isn't won with one viral video. It's won by showing up, by voting, by organizing. By refusing to let hate take the mic unchallenged, Trump built a movement of bullies. But America doesn't bow to bullies. We rise, we resist, we rebuild. That's the power of truth. That's the strength of unity. That's what it means to stand against tyranny, even when tyranny wears a red hat and calls itself patriotism. Because this isn't just about one protest. It's about who we are, about whether we give in to fear or fight for hope, whether we let the worst among us define the future, or whether we rise up together and say, no kings, no tyrants, no Trump. This is what democracy looks like. Loud, diverse, defiant, and unbreakable. They tried to silence it in Denver. They failed. They always will. Because the people who love this country more than their party, more than their ego, more than their fear, we are the true majority. They can scream "God bless Trump" all they want, but we'll keep living the real blessing, freedom, equality, justice, and the unshakable truth that in America, the crown belongs to no man.